Hello, good to see you. Pastor Sam with a little bit of a strange week, a little bit of a different week. Got a few special guests with me, but I'm not going to do any devotions this week. I'm going to do the video today. We're reflecting on holidays, being restful, being not running around like crazy, but taking Thanksgiving and Christmas to pause and to be with family or friends, but to be taking a little bit of a break from craziness and also allowing other people to have their own break from the craziness. And then we won't have a video on Thursday since it is Thanksgiving, but I'll mention it now. I'll hopefully remember to mention it again at the end. On Thursday, on Thanksgiving, call someone that you're thankful for. Don't text them, don't send them a Facebook message, don't email them. Call them and talk to them. Someone that you are thankful for that you will not be gathering with this year. That is my assignment for you for Thursday. On Thanksgiving Day, call someone and tell them that you are thankful for them, and maybe say a reason or two why you are thankful for them. You don't have to. Just call them and talk to that person that you are thankful for, that you're just for one reason or another not able to gather with. That's gonna kind of replace my Thursday video. And then Saturday we'll have another reflection. I think it will probably be something Christmas related, but we'll see. I've got a little bit of time. Paulie, you gotta be not crazy, okay? A little bit of time to think on that one. So that's what's happening this week. Well, the reason why it's a little bit different, first of all, it's a short week for me. So Thursday and Friday, the office is closed. And I'm going to try to have a 2-day weekend. I know, shocking, that I would have a 2-day weekend. But I'm going to give it a shot. It's also bedtime for my littlest special guest. So hopefully this is all that you hear of her and she goes to bed nicely. But yeah,
screaming.
Julia is also in bed. We tucked her in and prayed with her already, so hopefully she stays in bed. I'm doing things a little weirdly this week. But anyway, that's why things are a little different. And also, we finished up last week. This is the past for you. Last week we finished up our look at Matthew. And this week there's some readings from Daniel and Revelation, and they're okay. They're fine readings, right? But I'm really looking forward to starting Isaiah, and so I've kind of got my taster set for Isaiah, if that makes sense, and I want to jump into that next. So this week is kind of a bridge week, and one of the longer introductions that I've done in a while. So anyway, this week is Thanksgiving, and so you're hearing this on Tuesday. I'm doing this on Monday to get it up for Tuesday. So hopefully you're hearing it ahead of time for Thanksgiving. And my encouragement to you, my recommendation for you, my unsolicited advice, although you did click on this video, so my semi-solicited advice is to take Thanksgiving off. Now I recognize immediately there are some people who are unable to take Thanksgiving off. For instance, idiots still get hurt on Thanksgiving and have to go to the emergency room. That's just the nature. Even relatively smart people get hurt on Thanksgiving. So if you get hurt this Thanksgiving, don't hear me calling you an idiot. Although you probably did something silly, but that's neither here nor there. So the fine doctors, nurses, hospital staff, all of those folks have to work on Thanksgiving. It's just an unfortunate part of the society that we are in. But that does sort of that's a kind of related topic that I also want to touch on today. Not necessarily the doctors, but just folks working on Thanksgiving. But first of all, you. I hope that you are able to take Thanksgiving off. I hope that you are in a position or in one of those professions where you're able to rest on this holiday. Because that is, I think, one of the points of, more broadly, holidays. Holidays are a day where we as whatever group of people, as a nation, as a group of Christians, as whatever certain holiday you're talking about, have decided that we're going to rest. We're going to rest, and not just rest, not just kick up our feet and relax for a bit, but we're going to do so in recognition of a thing. And this Thanksgiving, I suppose we're thankful for the founders, the first folks who crossed an entire ocean back when ships were powered by the wind. And it took months to do so. And some of them died on the journey across. We're thankful also for the Native Americans who helped them to realize that in this new land you need to maybe do things a little bit differently. And so we as a people, we as the human race, were able to survive and thrive and come to the point today where we have very nice houses and internets to be able to record devotions or reflections or whatever this is and throw them out for the world to see. So we're thankful for the people who have come before. This throws me off so badly because this is like future for me, but it's past for you. Maybe there's a point in there somewhere. Anyway, the folks in the past, we are thankful for them for doing what they have and how we kind of stand on the shoulders of giants. If we're someone said this, someone far smarter than I, if we have seen farther, it is because we have stood on the shoulders of giants. And so there is a bit of progression, sense of progression in the human race, that we come farther technologically and in other ways in terms of our collective knowledge and ability, that there is a sense of progression. So we give thanks for, I got it right this time, the people who came before us and sort of the Pilgrims and Native Americans. I don't know any of them firsthand, so I don't know how well they work together or not. I have to assume that they did work together at some point in time. Maybe not all the time, but at some point work together. We're also thankful for one another. And hopefully this Thanksgiving you are able to gather with some meaningful people, whether they be family or friends, whether they be just a group of people to come around you who are endeavoring to come together on Thanksgiving, right? We have this, Paulie wearing a headband, we have this group of people, hopefully that you are gathering with, that you are thankful for. We are thankful for our Lord. And that kind of wraps back to this idea of holiday, of holy day.
We are also thankful for God.
There we go. See, he makes my points for me. It's a beautiful thing. That Thanksgiving as a holiday, a holy day, where we recognize that it is not the Pilgrims and the Native Americans alone. It is not the people with whom we gather, but that it is very much our God who truly gives us every blessing in our lives, even the blessing, especially the blessing of children with far more abundant energy than I. And so we give thanks to God. And I hope that, I'll just be honest, I hope that worship is part of your Thanksgiving in some way. Fortunately for me, the fine folks at Faith give me service on Wednesday so that I can have Thanksgiving off. That, I think, is a very great kindness, and I'm thankful for that. But anyway, we're thankful for our God, and so I hope that you do, dare I say, show your appreciation to Him by joining together with other Christians and by thanking God in corporate worship. There we go. Now that I have sufficiently laid the guilt trip on you, we can move on. When it does come time to Thanksgiving, and even worship itself is a form of rest, I would say, is a resting from the struggles of the world, is a resting from the pressures of the world, from life out there, and is a retreat, if nothing else, for your soul. For your body, yes, to be able to sit and to rest and to hear the loving kindness of your God, but especially a rest for your soul. That your self may be refreshed. And so I hope that worship is part of your Thanksgiving experience this year. I hope that physical rest is also part of your Thanksgiving this year. And that's maybe the harder thing for us to do. Because I think Thanksgiving is kind of that tip of the iceberg and really lets out in the Christmas season, building up, of course, with Christmas itself and then with New Year's following shortly thereafter, that there is an abundance of activity. And I said that in a very downward inflection, like it's a bad thing. No activity in itself, well, I shouldn't say that. Most activities in themselves are, of course, not bad things. Going to school functions or gathering together with friends or going to work engagements, even outside of work hours, work engagements, or shopping for gifts to show your appreciation and love for other people. All of these activities that we have are not in themselves bad or detrimental. But I think that as activities increase, first of all, our energy decreases, and then our ability to meaningfully exist in those activities also decreases. What I mean by that is, if you've ever had two things in a night, you're kind of thinking about the next thing while you're in the first thing. And so the first thing, you're there, and you are taking part in it in some measure, but you're thinking, okay, I hope it doesn't go too long, right? I need to leave at 6, so hopefully it finishes at like 5:50 or 5:55, and I can get up and out the door, and where did I park again? You're thinking these things so that you can get to your next activity, and you're not really being in that first one. And I think that's a great detriment to ourselves, to be in a place but not to allow the experience of that activity, of that place, of the people with whom we are gathered, not to let that kind of wash over us. But I encourage you to be present in the activities that you choose. And so that might mean not choosing or choosing not some activities so that you can be present in others. Life is a series of choices, and then we die. And then we rise again. But a series of choices, nonetheless. And so choosing is integral to the human experience. But I hope that you choose to rest. And when you do take part in activities this Thanksgiving or throughout this coming Christmas season, that you allow yourself to be present in those activities. This is like the antithesis of presence, but that's maybe its own reflection. To be in the thing that you are doing. Yes, emergencies will occur, but how many Thanksgivings in a row has someone you know died or gone to the emergency room? Maybe a few in your lifetime, hopefully not all of them. You need to get better friends if that's the case. Emergencies do happen, and that's the lie that we tell ourselves to haul this thing around. But we like coming out of our, I'm getting too far off topic. We like coming out of our activities. And so I encourage you to be present in the things that you choose. And if you're unable or unwilling to be present, then that's a good consideration to chop, to say, no, I'm not going to. If I am unwilling to allow myself to fully experience this event or this group of people or this activity, then for what reason am I doing it? Yeah, there might be some outside compulsion or some compulsion that you put upon yourself. But I suppose that is, again, the choice that you have to make. And I am endeavoring to point you in what I think is a good choice, in a limiting of activities that some part of you knows are not as meaningful as others, I think is how I want to put it. Now, I'm purposefully not giving examples of things that are good and bad, because this is going to, I think, be different for each one of us. Each one of us is able to be present in activity A. And some of us, or a group of us, are able to be present in activity A, and others would rather choose B. And the two would never want to mix with each other. And there's a whole group of people who don't want to be in either one, and who want to just be at home, resting with their family or by themselves or whatever. But again, it's that idea of rest on this holiday, on this Thanksgiving, to rest in worship to our God, to be receiving the gifts that He gives us, to be resting with our family or friends. Hopefully that those group of folks with whom you gather are able to provide you rest. That may not even be the majority of the time the case, but hopefully you are able to see and to discern people with whom you can rest, and to seek those people out, and to choose to be spending more time with them for the sake of yourself, yes, for the sake of that relationship which allows rest to occur, which allows rest and reflection and thanksgiving to occur, and not to feel the chaos of compulsion that you have to gather for a certain thing or with a certain group of people, but to step back and to think about all of the different things that are coming up over the next month or so, and to make some potentially difficult decisions about which to allow yourself to be present in and which not. There we go. I've said a lot without saying much at all, which I would admit is my specialty. Now, next part of this, which is somewhat related, is I've been recommending this rest for yourself, and I also want to make explicit to allow others to rest as well. Now, I spoke already. There are just certain professions where waiting for the next day is not possible. Doctors and nurses being potentially the easiest example of these. But there are certainly professions where, or activities where you could wait until the next day, shopping being, I think, a prime example of that. And hopefully most poignantly, your grocery store, right? My challenge to you is not to set foot in a grocery store on Thanksgiving. Hopefully they're closed where you are, and this is not a choice that you have to make, but a choice that I have made. And so it comes from a place of my own wrestling and recognition and intentional decision, is not to shop at a grocery store on any holiday. Thanksgiving, major holidays, right? Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, but even minor holidays, whatever you would consider those to be. Because I want to allow myself to rest, and I want to allow others to have that same opportunity for rest, knowing that there will always be some segment, hopefully small segment, of the population that are unable to rest, and I'm not here to change the entire world. I'm here to change myself, and I'm here to hopefully influence my community to change as well. And so I encourage you, challenge you even, not to set foot in a store, but especially a grocery store, on Thanksgiving, but to allow the people who work in that place to rest. Now, I don't know if your grocery store is open or not, or shopping store A is open or not. I suppose that's not really the point. I don't have that great of control, but I can control my own actions. And from my own perspective, I can disincentivize shopping store A to be open by not giving them my business on that holiday. I will choose to probably give them my business later, because it's a store that I care about and one that I shop at frequently, and I do still want to support them, but not on that holiday. Because I think greater than patronizing a business is allowing its employees to have the same rest that I want for myself, to treat others the way that I would want to be treated, a wise man once said. So that's my challenge to you, not to set foot in a grocery store on Thanksgiving. Stock up on Wednesday with all of the other people. And if you forget something on Thursday, you're going to be fine. People have lived for thousands of years, probably without that item prepared in that way. You can make it through a day without that item. It's not going to ruin the experience. If that is an upsetting thing, I'm going to say something potentially difficult. If that ruins the day, you need to broaden the scope of your life because it's quite narrow. If that thing ruins Thanksgiving, the lack of that thing ruins Thanksgiving, your life is this wide, and you need to come be this wide with the rest of us, or even a little bit wider still. Gain some perspective. If the lack of that thing ruins a day, you need perspective, friend. First of all, Jesus, and then perspective. Anyway, there we go. Thoughts about the upcoming Thanksgiving. To allow time for reflection to occur, to allow time for thanks to occur on this holiday, to allow time for rest for ourselves, and then by the conscious and deliberate choices that we make, hopefully rest for others. Now, it would be nice if even people were not injured on Thanksgiving, and the doctors and nurses, but I have no delusions of changing the world. I have only delusions of changing myself. And hopefully that does occur. Hopefully it does. But my challenge and my recommendation to you is to rest, to be with people that provide you that rest. And hopefully the feeling is mutual, that you allow others that feeling of rest, the others with whom you gather, and even the others with whom you do not gather, who would normally be employed at shopping store A, but they are closed. And they are allowed to rest as well. My reflection for Thanksgiving, again, no video Thursday this week. We'll have one on Saturday, and I'm sure it will have some kind of Christmas thing to it. We are getting into the Christmas season. I've got an idea or two floating around in my head, but you'll have to come back then to see what it is. So, God's peace be with you. I'll see you next time.